Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, and this is Style in V, and this is a tutorial on how to cut and sew this bralette top. As you can see on this video right here, it's actually a very beginner friendly tutorial and it's detailed, so let's get started for this tutorial. So to make this top, you'll be needing less than 1 yard of fabric to make this top. So I have with me my crepe fabric here, my scissors, my chalk and my tape. So I'll just go ahead and fold into a 90-degree flay. So just watch how I will fold it. You take the one side of your fabric to meet the other side of your fabric. That is, you're folding it into a 90-degree flay. Let me do this part again. So I'll just go ahead and take one edge and fold it to meet the other edge like this, just the same way you cut your flay dress. So this is how you cut it. So the wider your fabric or your flay is, the fuller your bralette top. So the next thing I will do is from this top here, I will minus 4 inches. Yes, I'll go ahead and minus 4 inches from the top line here, and I will mark my underbust. My underbust is 14, and I will add 1 inch for sewing allowance, which is 15. So I'll just go ahead and mark 15 inches, taking note of these 4 inches that I minus from the top of the fabric. So I'll just go ahead and be marking the 15 inches, sorry, round like this. So this is how it is, and I'll just go ahead and confirm it. So my 4 inches minus 15, or 15 minus 4 will give me 11, and that's okay. So I'll just go ahead and trim it off like this. So you will be cutting 4 of this piece like this. So let me open it up for you all to see. So this is how it will be. We will cut this 4 of this. Okay, so let me just go ahead and trim this off because I noticed a rough edge on this point right here. So this is what we have. So I will open up my fabric again, and so that I'll be able to cut the second one for you all to see. So I'll place it right side facing right side, and I will cut following the shape of this piece here. So just watch how I will cut it, the same shape. So you cut this times 4. Yes, this shape times 4. So I'm done cutting 2. I'll cut the remaining 2 off camera. So guys, I am done cutting all the piece here. So this is the 4 piece of the flay here, and so I also went ahead to cut a rope for it. So I'll be using this piece as my rope. The width of this rope is 1.5 inches, and for the length I used 20 inches for this length. So I will be cutting 2 of this rope, one for the left side and the other one for the right side. So just go ahead and sew your rope the way you normally sew it, and that's just all for the rope. So I also went ahead to cut a piece for the band that will be at the underbust area. So for the width of this band, it depends on how wide you want it. So I don't really want mine to be too wide, so I just went ahead to cut 3 inches for the width of the band. And for the length of the band, you take your underbust circumference and you add about 20 inches to the length. Yes, to the length of your underbust. So that's the length of this band. So the next thing I will do is take it over to my pressing iron, and I will give it a good press. Now look at how I will press it. I'll fold it half of an inch on this side, and I'll give it a good press down to meet the hem, and also on this side I'll iron them and I'll fold them again and also give it a good press. So this is how I will take it to my pressing iron, and I will iron it down to the end point like this. So let me repeat the same process again so that you guys will see. I'll fold it like this, as you can see me showing you guys right here, and I'll iron it to meet the edge and also the other side. Then when I'm done, I'll fold it again like this and iron it like this. I am done ironing the band and sewing the rope, so you can see how the band looks like. So I'll just keep this aside, and this is also the rope. Remember I said there are 2 ropes. I'll keep them aside. So the next thing for us to do is to work on this main piece itself. So now on the right face of this piece, I'll place my rope like this, with the longer side facing this wider side of the flay piece, and I will place the second piece still right side facing right side, and this is what we have. So the next thing you will do is to sew following this direction that I'm showing you all here. I'll just go ahead and sew it from one edge to meet the other edge. So I am done sewing, and this is what we have. I'll just go ahead and turn it to the good face so you can see what it looks like. Please don't forget to give it a good press. So the next thing I will do, whatever thing I did to one end, I also did it to the other end, and also notch this upper side so it will not be squeezed, like it won't have this squeezed effect at the upper side. So when I am done, I will give it a loose stitch on this lower side, a very loose stitch on this lower side. Whatever thing I do to one end, I will do it to the other side. I'll give it a loose stitch on this lower side, and I'll keep this aside, and let's work on the band. Now on this band, you will fold it into 2 equal halves. For me, I had to make a joining so that I'll be able to locate the midpoint. So you fold it into 2 equal halves. So from the midpoint of this band, you will divide your underbust circumference by 4, and whatever you have, you mark it there. So my underbust is 34 inches divided by 4 is 8.5. So I'll just go ahead and place my tape from the midpoint here, and I will mark 8.5. As you can see me showing you all right here, I'll just go ahead and mark 8.5 with my chalk. I'll make it bold so that I'll be able to know where it is, and I'll flip my band to the other side and still input the same 8.5 from the midpoint here. So this is what we have. Now I am having 3 lines, that is my midpoint and the 8.5 on both sides like this. So I'll open it up. Now the chalk may not be visible, but from my explanation you understand better. So I have from my 8.5 to meet one side of my chalk, that's my midpoint, sorry, and from my midpoint to meet the other side of my chalk. So let me fold this again and repeat this process so you all can understand better. I said you fold your band into 2. From the midpoint, you divide your underbust by 4, and whatever you have, you place it on one side and flip it over to the other side and place the same answer. So now I have 3 lines. So from this midpoint, I will take the measurement I have from the midpoint to one side of my chalk, so which is 8.5, and I'll note it. Now on this top, I will give it a loose stitch, and I'll gather it up to meet that 8.5 plus 1 inch. That 1 inch is my overlapping, is for overlapping the 2 tops together. That's the 2 sides of the tops together. So remember what I said, you give it a loose stitch and you gather it up to 8.5 plus 1 inch for overlapping. I don't know what yours is, but whatever yours is, you do the same thing. So this is what mine is. I'm having 9.5 on all sides. So this is my overlapping side. I didn't do a gathers on it, so I'll just go ahead and overlap it on it like this so you can see what we have here, and I'll take it over to my sewing machine and I will sew. So you can see how the overlapping is on 1 inch. I'll just take it over to my sewing machine and I will sew like this, as you can see me showing you all right here. So I am done sewing and this is what we have. So let's reconfirm our measurement. Now it means I'll be having 17 inches here, and this is correct because my underbust is 34 and divided by 2 is 17 inches. So this is what we have. So the next thing for you to do is to notch the midpoint. I'll fold it into 2 equal halves like this, and I will notch the midpoint here. And so the next thing for us to do is to also take the band and note the midpoint. So mine was easy because I joined mine at the midpoint area. So I will place the right side of my band. I'll open it up like this. So that was why I had to iron it to give me a guide. I'll place the right side of my band to the wrong side of my bralette top. Yes, now this is a reversible top, so I just use the other side at the wrong side and this side that is facing the camera at the right side. I'll just go ahead and pin it up like this. That is the right side of the band facing the wrong side of the top. Then I'll take it over to my sewing machine and I will sew. So look at how I will sew it. Following this 1/2 inch that I ironed, I will sew on top of it like this to meet the other end of the top. From one side here, I'll sew on top of this ironed place to meet the other end of the top. So guys, I am done sewing it and this is what we have. So you can see what it looks like. See the outer part and see the inner part of it. So the next thing for us is to cover up this rough edge at the good face. Okay, that's this other side. So I'll just go ahead and fold in my band again using the remaining 1/2 inch that we ironed, and I'll fold it in like this so you can see what we have. So I'll just go ahead and I will sew. Now you place your band very well. This crepe is kind of stretchy, so I'll just go ahead and sew from this end on it. I'll sew at the edge, that is at the tip of it. I'll go ahead and sew neatly on it like this. Then I'll get back to you all. I am done sewing and this is what we have. You can see how neat it is. So by doing this method, you have a very neat top. So the next thing I will do is to fold up this edge of it. So you just go ahead and fold it up like this and cover it up. So when you're done folding this up, you hold it on with a pin and you'll sew. I'll just go ahead and fold it and hold it on with a pin. So this is to cover up the rough edge, and I will continue my sewing from this side that I stop here, and I'll just go ahead and sew at the tip too. I'll just go ahead and sew at this tip until I get to the end of it. Now whatever thing I do to one end, I'll do it to the other end. Remember what I said, I'll sew at the tip area. That is, I'll continue my sewing at this tip area and I'll just end on the other side. So the same thing I do to one end, I'll do it to the other end. So let me repeat the same process again. I'll fold it in like this and cover it up like this. Okay, then you hold it on with a pin. So this is to cover up any rough edge, so you'll be having a neat top. So I'll just go ahead and hold it on with a pin like this, and I will continue my sewing from where I stop at the edge, okay, or at the tip. So I'll just go ahead and sew at the tip like this neatly, and when I get to this point, I will continue and sew here. So guys, I am done sewing and this is what we have. So you can see how our top came out to be. So this is actually just very easy and beginner friendly top. So guys, this is it on me. You can see how it looks like. So this is the top. I had to wear something inside so my body won't get exposed. So this is the top, this is the front part, and this is the back part. If you've watched to this point, thank you so much for watching, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel, and see you in our next video. Bye.